This episode of Brown Girl Guilt is sponsored by all my past lovers. Y'all done did mess me up, but that's okay, because I got a podcast episode and basically an entire month's worth of episodes out of it. Now, if I get rich and famous because y'all broke my heart, I think that was a pretty solid trade off. Hi, friends. It's your girl Harpo. Welcome to this episode of Brown Girl Guilt titled, I Am the Love of My Life. Oh my God, I'm so excited to do this episode. Now, I am the love of my life. I wrote this episode out in a hotel room that I was staying in when I took a staycation for myself. It was locally in the city. But I took myself and I spent an entire weekend just by myself. And I pulled out my laptop, and I don't know if you figured it out by now or not, but I write out my episodes as scripts. And I remember having such a beautiful Zen weekend, having spent time by myself, not really being answerable to anybody else. And I realized that what I was running away from was not someone, it wasn't people, it was actually myself. And we talk a lot about this journey back home to yourself here at Brown Girl Guilt. And it's kind of where I'm at right now in life. And I realized I keep running away from myself, but then I just bump into myself even more. And the reason that I always feel like I need an escape is because, I'm constantly chasing this idea of chasing this person, chasing this thing. And, this entire month at Brown Girl Guilt, I've been talking a lot about my relationships with men and romantic partnerships with men. And I think that the bane of my existence has been the fact that I've always looked outside for something. And so I Am the Love of My Life is an episode that I'm super excited about because to me, it's not just an episode, right? It really reads out as an affirmation. So here goes. I can't wait for you to hear it. I am the one. We spend our whole lives looking for the one, our soulmate, our eternal lover, the one who is meant to complete us and hold our hand through this human experience. But I'd like to propose that while I do strongly believe in finding the one is not anyone else, it's you. You are your own soulmate, the one you learn more and more about every day. Your soulmate is you as you complete trip after trip around a big ball of burning fire, which is a miracle in and of itself. Your eternal lover is you as you pour your cup with an infinite amount of tenderness, care, affection, respect, romance, and love. You are your own eternal lover as you give to yourself all that you desperately need: attention, patience, space, solitude, joy, fun, pleasure, and adventure. You are the one who completes you. You wake up every day, open your eyes, and say, Thank you to the universe. Thank you for giving me one more shut eye to dream my infinite possibilities. And thank you for giving me one more morning to experience the miracle of being awake. You are the one who completes you in all your wildest fantasies, dreams, and manifestations. No one else. You hold your own hand during this human experience, for you are the only one you have when your head hits the pillow every night, regardless of whether there is another head on the pillow next to you or not. You hold your own hand and guide yourself through the forest of your life, the ups and the downs of the mountains you climb, and the beaches you stroll along. I am the love of my life. I've been in many situationships in life, and every time something new starts, I automatically ask myself, oh my God, could he be the one? Is he going to be the one? And if I'm not the one asking myself these questions, my loved ones around me are quick to ask, Harpo, oh my God, do you think he's the one? I have a list in my head of what the one looks like, what he feels like and sounds like. I have a list of what the one says, how he carries himself, what his interests are, how he shows up for me. And yet, even if I meet someone who checks off more than 50% of those boxes, it still never feels good enough. I read somewhere once that there is no such thing as the one, for the one is what you make of it. Anyone can be the one if you allow them to be, if you truly let them be. The one is the one who fills your heart with a beautiful love, cares for you, and tends to your needs and gives attention to your needs. So then, even if I remove all the barriers of my checklist, even if I open myself up and drop the list altogether to give someone a truly fair shot without bumping into my own expectations and requirements, how come I can't find anything that feels remotely close to the one? I'm going to say today with my whole ass chest that I've been obsessed with love my entire life. Before all my other hobbies and passions, before my love for good food, good coffee, and good wine, before how much I love the simple act of a used bookstore, before my strong passion to change the world, and even above my dedication to sisterhood, my number one love and passion and desire in life is love. I love love. I've denied this part about myself for a long time. I've shoved it down and pretended to be a cool, chill girl who doesn't crave intimacy, commitment, a relationship, or marriage, children, a white picket fence, and a husband who will be my best friend. I do crave all those things, actually. And even though I deny it again and again, I want all of that. But I also crave a deep sense of individuality and freedom. I mean, anything that feels like a cage, a boundary, a ceiling too low above my head makes me anxious. It makes me run. I want a life where I get to run wild and free without any strings. I want intimacy, a commitment, a relationship and marriage. I want the children too and the husband who will be my best friend, but I also deeply desire for all of it to come tied in a basket of unconventional living. And this has always kept me confused and worried. I want so much. Will I get any of it? Will I get all that I truly desire, even if it sounds and feels like a paradox? The answer can either be a yes or it can be a no, and I've spent a lot of time repeating to myself in my head, Harpo, you are the love of your life. There is nothing you won't get, no experience that you truly desire that will not happen for you. And under no circumstances are you going to be forever alone, no matter how many times you joke and say it. But the catch is you have to stop searching for all that you desire in someone else, in something else, and you have to begin to cultivate it within yourself. I know it seems hard. I know, it's like, how do you give up this idea that your happiness is supposed to come from something else, something external, someone external? Especially when you've been taught your whole life that the key to happiness lies in a really SRK looking dude who flies across oceans and mountains to tell you he loves you in a field of yellow flowers holding a guitar in his hand. And let's get really real about the fear for a second, too. How do you abandon the idea of finding someone, like actively taking it, putting it aside to focus on yourself? Because it's like, if I stopped caring about finding the one, how are they supposed to show up? I mean, isn't that how the law of attraction works? If I really think about it, if I sit there and manifest it, and if I'm not obsessed over it, it's never going to happen. I had a conversation with one of my best friends once. We were talking about how we were both still single despite all the growth and the healing we'd gone through. And we were talking about how, despite the shifts and movements we felt in our lives, we still didn't have a plus one to take to our cousins' birthdays or a man's to invite over for Christmas dinner. I remember saying to her, I don't get it. My career and my professional goals are always so easy for me to detach from. When it comes to my professional life, I get everything that I want. I actively manifest my professional goals all the time, and I'm never, ever worried about it. And I remember stepping back from that conversation and having this reflection afterwards. The reason my growth and healing and shifting sees wonders for my professional life is simply because I am detached to the outcome of my professional goals. The grip around these goals is a very loose one. I know I'm going to be successful professionally, and so that's what actively manifests. But when it comes to my love life, it never works out because even though all my attention is on my love life, even if I'm writing, I will meet the love of my life in my journal every new moon, full moon, and new year, I'm meeting this manifestation with impatience, frustration, scarcity, and lack. I'm telling the universe that I'm so deeply attached to this outcome that I need to watch over it like a hawk because I do not trust you. I do not trust that this will happen and this will come true. And so it runs further and further away from me. Instead of coming to me, it flees from me. And why wouldn't it? Deep down, I'm really manifesting the idea that it will never happen for me, that I'm never going to be good enough for it, and that I'm not deserving of the kind of life I envision for myself. I mean, I even just said a little while ago that, how can I expect all these things to happen for me when most of my life feels like a paradox? Like I want commitment, but I also want freedom at the same time. And perhaps those two things just don't mesh together. I think the solution, though, is, I've learned it goes back to the catch I mentioned just a few minutes ago. You have to stop searching for all that you desire in someone else, in something else, and begin to cultivate it within yourself. And it really doesn't have to be just relationships. It doesn't have to really just be a person. I think for the longest time, I lived my life goalpost to goalpost, thinking that's what's going to make me happy. When I get that undergrad degree in just 4 years, that's what's going to make me happy. And that's what's going to bring me back to myself. Or when I go away and finish this master's degree only at the age of 23, that's what's going to make me happy. Or when I start working for this full time job, only, having a week to rest after finishing an entire master's program, that's what's going to make me happy. And so for the longest time, I just placed all my, you know, experiences of happiness and my expectations of happiness in other people and other things. And if life on this side of the pandemic has taught me anything, it's that I am the love of my life. I am what's going to make me happy. Other things and other people and other opportunities and other, aspirations and achievements and successes can 100% add to that happiness, and, they can add immense value, but they're not responsible for it. And, we've heard this again and again. Will Smith has this quote where you cannot hold somebody else responsible. And I will add my own bit and say that you cannot hold someone or something hostage and make them responsible for your happiness. Only you can do that. And so, even though I wrote this entire episode and, kind of came to this realization and this, sort of understanding in a hotel room during a staycation, I really thought I was going to leave that staycation having really embodied this. But I'm sitting on my closet floor recording this episode for you guys all to listen to today and realizing that somewhere along the way, I lost this reminder again. I remembered that I am the love of my life when I wrote this episode, but when I'm recording this episode, I'm not realizing that I am the love of my life. And so I think it's a constant process of just trying to learn, trying to just remind yourself and really hold yourself anchored and grounded in that to say, I am the love of my life. I am the one that I've been searching for. And perhaps it's a journey that doesn't end. Perhaps we don't wake up one day and think that, okay, it's done. I realize I'm all I've been searching for. We might have that one day and we might not the next. But I think if we're committed to this journey, committed to ourselves, and committed to being our own happiness and being, you know, like I always say to my friends and family, committed to being the sun in your life, what the entire solar system orbits around. When you commit to being the sun in your life, I mean, I've got an entirely massive sun tattooed on my forearm for this reason and for this reminder that when you tell yourself that I am the sun in my life, and that everything in my life revolves around me and I don't revolve around anything else. Because let's be real, Mr. Sun ain't revolving around any other planets. It's all them planets revolving around the sun. I think that's a beautiful metaphor for what I'm trying to, kind of show up for and be in my life. And so all that to say, remember that you are the love of your life. You are the one that you're searching for. And you never ever have to look into anybody else for that. I think that's a reminder that we have to come back to. And if it means that you got to write that on your mirror, you got to write that on a sticky note, you got to get it tattooed on your hand or your forehead, wherever you want, so be it. But be kind to yourself because it's not something you can just wake up to and do right away. It's a constant process, it's a constant journey. And that's what it is. It's this journey of coming back home to yourself.